So I want to talk a little bit about a little piece of my testimony. It's not all of it, just a little bit that kind of explains like the seer anointing and gifting that I experienced because a lot of people ask about it. So first of all, the first question people ask is like, how long? And the answer to that is that I've always been like this. Like it didn't just start happening all of a sudden. It's as far as I can remember, I've been able to see and experience things that normal people couldn't. When I was a kid, I didn't dream the way most people describe dreams. For me, it felt very real, and it was like I was there. And night after night, I would leave my body and I would move around. I would go wherever I wanted, almost like a Peter Pan type deal. And I was fully aware the whole time that I was asleep and I was out of my body. I was fully aware. And when it was time to wake up, I would have to come back to my body and touch my body, and then I would wake up and I could wake up. And that's like as a kid, as a child, I did that. And I thought like that was normal. Like that was just normal to me. I didn't analyze it. I didn't know that other people didn't dream like that. I didn't really question it. It just was how my inner world worked, okay? I also grew up around generational spiritual stuff, like witchcraft type frameworks, that kind of thing. But honestly, I didn't really believe any of it. By the time I was an adult, I thought all of it was fake, and I was a full blown atheist. In July of 2022, I was still a full blown atheist, and I genuinely believed that religion was something that people used to cope with a hard world and hard lives. Like the world was so terrible that people had to have religion to cope. And I thought that was logical. I thought it was rational. I thought I was awake. And then something happened. In August of 2022, I accepted Jesus, and I heard God immediately. I heard God as soon as I accepted him. I heard him audibly, and people can say whatever they want to say. I don't care. Like, just so you know already before you leave a comment, I don't care what you say. I heard God audibly. I knew it was God. And one of the things I tell people is like, whenever, because one of the top questions is how did you know? Well, when God speaks, you know it's God. Like Moses didn't see the burning bush and be like, God, is that you? No, none of that. That never happened in any instance where God was speaking to somebody. That never happened. They never say, well, was that God? Are you really God? Like, you know it's God. Like, it's obvious. And it wasn't dramatic. Like, it was very clear. It wasn't chaotic, but it was very unmistakable. And it completely shattered the framework that I had been living in. So coming to Jesus did not suddenly make my life easy. Like, I wish I could say, oh, my life started going so well and everything worked out. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. In November of 2022, so August, I come to Jesus and I start believing in God and I start believing in Jesus. And in November of 2022, I am homeless and I have nothing. I've lost my kids and I overdose. And that's right before I went to rehab. It was in the same month that I went to rehab. And I say that plainly, not for shock value, but because it's part of the truth. It's part of the truth. I overdosed and I went to rehab. So not long after I overdosed, I entered rehab. And really what changed my life, like, it wasn't willpower. It wasn't motivation. It was like surrendering. It was finally coming to a place where I was so desperate that I was like, okay, like, I give up. Like, I give up. I can't do it. Like, put me somewhere where someone can help me do it, or put me somewhere where I can, like, they can do it for me, because I just can't do it. Like, I realized at that point, like, that I didn't just need recovery. I needed God, and I needed alignment. Like, I needed something more than just myself. I needed something more than just stopping using drugs and alcohol. So over time, as I became sober minded and as I started like getting closer to Jesus, I started to understand my past a lot differently. I believe that, like, in the past, I've always had access to the spiritual realm, and only before, when I was an atheist, I wasn't under God's authority. I had no covering, and I was basically, according to spiritual laws, spiritual standards, I was basically accessing the spiritual realm illegally. And when you access the spiritual realm illegally, you have no covering. God's not there to cover you. When you don't have Jesus, the blood of the Lamb does not cover you. So I had perception of spiritual things because I've just always been that way. I've always been open. I had perception, but I had no covering. I had access, but I literally had no authority because I was operating without covering. And that is extremely dangerous. Like, it is so dangerous. I wish I could tell people, like, I just want to shake them sometimes and be like, what you're doing is so dangerous. That when you access the spiritual realm without the covering of Jesus, it is dangerous. It invites all sorts of demons into your life. It invites all sorts of bad things because you have no covering. So when I came to Jesus, I didn't lose perception. I still could see in the spirit. I could still see things, but I had to start having permission because I came under authority and I came under a covering. And I want to be really, really clear about this. I have never, ever, since coming to Jesus, experienced the lucid dream and astral projection that I experienced all before Jesus. I haven't done that anymore. That hasn't been a thing because I couldn't control it when I was a kid. Like, I didn't just wake up and say, or go to sleep and say, I can't wait. Like, it just would happen. So since coming to Jesus, like, that has not happened at all. And it's because it was something that was never meant to be open. It was never meant to be open, and it's finally closed now through obedience and covering because I'm not supposed to be there. Like, I'm not supposed to be giving demons and the spiritual realm access to me. So now I'm over 3 years sober. I'm not white knuckling it. I'm not just surviving. I'm actually sober. I'm actually grounded. And I've rebuilt my life from the ground up. I run 2 businesses. I've written 4 books. I show up. I stay present. And none of it's hard. I live with peace where it just used to be complete chaos. Chaos, chaos, chaos. So when I say that Jesus changed my life, like, I'm not talking about a single moment. I'm talking about my life is completely different now than it was back then. So, like, if you knew me before, you no longer know me. I'm a different person. I'm talking about years of fruit. Like, my kids coming back, I have a nice home, I have my businesses, I have my, like, I got everything back and then some, and then I poured out all over into books, basically the books that I've written and the teaching and the mentoring. I poured all the excess out onto other people, and I really, like, can't even begin to explain the fact that I can't believe it's happening. Like, it still, like, blows my mind when I look at my own life. Sometimes, like, I can't believe it. Like, it feels like a dream. It's not hype. It's not just like, oh yeah, it's alignment. It's all about aligning myself with the will of God and what he has planned for me and what he wants for me, because his plan is better than mine. My plan got me high. His plan got me sober.